in Philly's another episode of Discovering Black Heritage. Today we want to welcome Edison High School, who today is going to turn the tables. They're going to ask this wonderful, talented group of journalists questions about the business. So first of all, thank you for your time. We appreciate you coming here. Guys, thank you for your time, taking out to talk to these next generation of people that's going to probably be doing what we're doing and even bigger and better things. If you guys have any questions, just come up here, take the mic, ask the question on this side as well as the other side. Yep. So we do have one person that's on the air, Aunyea Lachelle. She's just getting off the air, so she will be up here on the panel as well. So I'm going to start on this far end with my man, Erin Baskerville. Erin, please give us a nice version of your story.
I'm Erin Baskerville. I've been here for about 7 years, I think. I came here in August of 2017. I was born in Philadelphia. I was born in Lankenau. All my family is from West Philadelphia. That's aunts, uncles, cousins. Both parents graduated from Overbrook High School. So everybody in my family is from Philadelphia. I moved away with my family like in 6th grade, but I still come back. We moved to Chicago. I went to school at Indiana and Northwestern. I got a master's in journalism from Northwestern. The only reason I did that is because my undergrad didn't have a good TV station like Temple, where I could kind of get a tape and get stuff together. And then I just started my journey. I've been at 5 different television stations. I think I worked in Lansing, Michigan. I worked in Buffalo. I worked in Chicago. I worked in Detroit and Grand Rapids in Michigan, and then here. So kind of been Midwest, East Coast, and I am nightside reporter. So I come to work at 3:30, and I mainly work for the 11 o'clock news. If something's big enough, I'll be in the earliest, the 5 and the 6 o'clock newscast, and I just cover the news of the day. Whatever's happening that day, I'm on it. So yeah.
Hey everybody, my name is Danny Pommells. I really feel connected to you guys. I'm from Hunting Park. I walked by Edison 2,000 times in my life, and I'm a little unique here because I'm a sportscaster, and I'm not. I don't operate out of this building. I work at the Wells Fargo Center, and I do pretty much a bunch of stuff for the network. So all sports related, but I do weekends on NBC 10. I do a show that airs every morning from 6 to 11 a.m. I do a football show that we air every day, and it all varies from day to day. But I'm from Hunting Park. I've been working here about a dozen years, and really fortunate to be a part of everything that we do here. And I started out in Salisbury, Maryland, making $17,500 my first job. So it was slim pickings, but I just knew that this was what I wanted to do, worked my way up, and eventually became the sports director at that station and moved around a bunch of other places. And I've been here and thankful. I never thought I would be coming home and working here, but it's just the way it worked out, and just thankful to be a part of it. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. How you guys doing today? All right, well, we're really excited to be here and to be able to talk with you today. My name is Brittney Shipp. I'm the evening meteorologist, so everyone knows what a meteorologist is. We study the weather every day, and we deliver your weathercast. So it's been a very interesting ride. I'm from Los Angeles originally. I've been here about 10 years now, which is kind of wild. The time just starts flying by, so I kind of feel like a lot of us all kind of grew up together here. So I do the 5, the 7, and the 11 p.m. I'm from Los Angeles. Like I said, I went to UCLA, and my first market was Yuma, Arizona, population of, I think, 100,000 people. So they did not have a mall. They did not have anything except for this TV station, basically. So I was there for about a year. I went to Phoenix, here, San Francisco, and then I came back here. I missed it so much, I came back to Philly. So I'm excited to just answer any questions that you guys have. My original major was not in meteorology, so that's another part of my path. It's okay if you don't know exactly what you want to do. You might kind of go around in a circle and then find your path, and that's okay. So we'll talk more about that coming up in a little bit. Jackie.
Meteorologist, thank you for the weather today. Do we notice how nice it is? Oh, love that. My name is Jacqueline London. I've been here for about 11 years. Can't believe that. I anchor the 4, 6, 7, and 11 p.m. I started in a small town, as we always have to, Illinois and Iowa, right on the border, doing pig reports, corn reports, and all that, listening to the scanners at night, working the assignment desk. My little shot at anchoring at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. that it let me do 30-second news hits that nobody would see because it was in the middle of the night, but that was my way of like getting into the anchor desk. But mainly reporting is what I did starting out. Went to Florida and I was there for about 10 years, doing much of the same. And then I've been here for about 11 years. I love to do special reports whenever I get the chance, but it's hard with the shift and doing all of the shows. But I love to get out there and report when I can and do special series. Starting out, I wanted to be in print journalism. I never thought about TV. In high school and college, I was always editor of a newspaper. I was thinking about print, never thought about broadcast, was never interested in it. I wanted an internship when I was back home in Chicago, and the opening was at the CBS affiliate in Chicago to intern. I said, okay, fine, a TV station, I'll try it, fine. My focus is newspaper. Tried it for a summer, loved it. So in my senior year of college, I went back and I switched my focus from print to broadcasting. Was never thinking about TV. And even when I interned at the station in Chicago, I was working with a producer and I was thinking about producing. So I just kind of fell into broadcasting. I loved it. My senior year, that was my focus. And here I am. So I love it. I love to be able to see everyone here who we often don't get to see because we're on different shifts and different schedules or out in the field doing the amazing reporting that you do. So it's nice to see everyone gathered here. Ori and Keisha, thank you for facilitating that. Great to see all of you here. We definitely want all your questions, so I'll stop talking.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think you saw all of us hugging when we first came in because we don't normally get to see each other. At least I don't. I think I'm the only one here with the opposite schedule. So I'm Erin Coleman. I'm the morning anchor at NBC 10. So this is the end of my day. This is actually past the end of my day, but we have had this date circled on our calendars for a long time. We've been really excited to just sit down and meet with you guys. So I get up at 2 a.m. in the morning when most people are asleep. My whole house is asleep. And I'm on the air from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. And then we do what is called cut-ins during the Today Show. And then today you saw me anchoring the 11 a.m., which I don't normally do. So normally I'm long gone. I'm either napping by now or doing something else, doing some other activity. But I've been here at the station for 8 years. I was born in Philly, raised in South Jersey. And like everybody else you heard here, I started in a really small market, Jonesboro, Arkansas, which I believe is probably smaller. Yeah, I think it's smaller than Yuma. Market 180s, that's kind of bottom of the barrel. Philly is number 4 if you think about market size. And so I started in Jonesboro, Arkansas. I went to Greensboro, North Carolina. This dude, well, I won't give it away. So we kind of go way back, sort of. Greensboro, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. I was in Atlanta for 8 years, and then I got the opportunity to come back. And it's really special to be able to do what you love in the city that you know so well, that you grew up in. And you don't always get to do that in this business. So I'm grateful for the opportunity and grateful to be here talking with you guys.
My name is Fred Shropshire. I co-anchor the evening newscast with Jacqueline London, and I'm one of the few people on this panel who is not from Philadelphia, actually. I'm from a town so small that I started my TV career there. Think about that. Yeah, so I grew up in Eastern North Carolina, born in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm from the Southeast, and I got into news. I got interested in current events because my dad was in the military. And he used to always have the news on in our house, and we always had to watch it. And I didn't like it, but it was an acquired taste. And I grew to appreciate it because what I learned is that current events affect our household. And so I always paid attention to current events. Much like Jacqueline, I was always interested in print. And it wasn't until I got maybe into high school that we started doing production things with cameras and camcorders and VCRs, which I don't know if you know what that is. Do you know what a VCR is? Yeah. We started doing things with that. We started trying to put together little TV things. And then I went to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. They had a great journalism program there. And that's when I got the real bug for TV. And I always saw myself as a producer like you, but I constantly was pushed to go in this direction and got a taste of it and started my career in Eastern North Carolina, Jacksonville, North Carolina, worked in the Greensboro, Winston-Salem, North Carolina area. with Erin. And at that time, you can attest to this, there were very few people who looked like us on TV at that time. There were no people who looked like me in my first job in my hometown. And then from there, I went to Chicago, to WGN, came back to North Carolina, worked at a couple of stations in North Carolina in the Raleigh market and the Charlotte market. I've been here for 8 months now, so I'm still relatively new. It doesn't, in my brain, seem like 8 months. It just seems like, yeah, it's crazy how fast time goes. But I really enjoy this work because we get to tell stories. We get a front row to history that happens, to the big changes that impact everyone's lives. And this business is, my life is a testament to what this business can do for anyone. It can take you somewhere else. Like, you can actually go other places to cover other stories, live in different communities, and be exposed to different cultures. And I see things here in Philadelphia every day that I did not see growing up in my hometown, that still don't exist in my hometown of Eastern North Carolina. So, and it's a blessing, I'll say this before I go, it's a blessing for you guys to be in this room and see so many faces that look like yours. I did not see this when I was a kid, and to have this opportunity to come to this station and ask all these folks on the panel questions is a true blessing. So I hope you take advantage of it.
Hi, my name's Leah Uko Jackson. I report and anchor throughout my career. Currently here at NBC 10, I report. I have been all up and down this country, left, right, up, down, from successes, failures, some on my part, some on others' part. The big part of my story is that in this career, it's not talent that takes you far. It's simply just not quitting. Even if you get knocked down from reasons that were your own or others, if you really love this and keep putting your foot forward and don't let success or failure determine your worth, you'll still rise in the ranks. That's pretty much the trajectory of my career. I'm from Los Angeles, California, like Brittney, but I started my career in the South. I went from Texas, Arkansas, Georgia. I'm missing one. Recently, South Carolina. I also worked in Los Angeles. I've worked twice in Los Angeles, and I'm forgetting. I've moved around a lot. I'm forgetting a market. Columbus. It doesn't matter. I've went in like eight newsrooms, and I've learned a lot throughout my career. And I always say, if you want to get in any type of media, any type, whether it's news, film, whatever, print, you got to love it in a way that you don't love any other career. If you love any other career just as much, I always suggest doing that, because this career requires you to have grit. You have to have thick skin, especially us Black people, especially us Black ladies. People think they want to see us succeed, but when it's tested, they don't really want to. You gotta be scrappy. But I love what I do. So every time I got knocked down or succeeded, I keep my eye on the prize, which is, like Fred said, having that front row to what's going on in communities. I love to be the center of attention. I love people to be the center of attention. I love news to be the center of attention. I think that news bridges the gaps between all communities. Say like the weather. If you are stuck in an elevator with someone you think you can't relate to, all you have to do is talk about the weather, and boom, you're kicking it on the elevator. If you talk about sports, if you talk about politics with reason, if you talk about money, real estate, the news bridges gaps. And I feel like that's what God wanted us all to do, which was talk to one another, know what's going on, because it does affect us. So I like to highlight myself, people, cool things, food, breaking news, you name it. I just like to be in the thick of what's going on. It's just my nature. I started out in news because I grew up in a time where JonBenet Ramsey, none of you probably know JonBenet Ramsey, but she was this beauty pageant little girl and no one knew who killed her. I did beauty pageants and I was the same age as her at the time. That resonated with me. She didn't look nothing like me. But again, news bridges gaps. I went through the news cycle of Selena. Growing up in Los Angeles, there are a lot of Mexicans and Mexican Americans. They were mad that a Puerto Rican played Selena. And I love Selena. I mourned her death with my neighbors when she died. And when I saw that in the news and I saw people rioting and I saw the reporter getting pushed, she dropped her phone, her microphone live on television. I was like, this is lit. I want to do this. It was so exciting because I learned like, oh, there's a difference between, I was like 8 or 9. I was like, oh, there's a difference between Mexican American, Puerto Rican, and all that. I learned that from the news. And also O.J. Simpson. I come from the city that loves a good police chase. It don't matter if you air 20 of them in a day, we're going to watch all of them. And O.J. Simpson started that. I grew up in the era of sensational and hard news combined. Sensational meaning it touches the flesh. It makes you mad. It makes you sad. You feel it. But then you also throw in facts that your brain needs to connect with how you feel when you watch the news. That's the type of news I grew up in because I'm from Hollywood. We like to do things big with a little bit of sprinkle of a pop. That's the type of news I like to do. And those 3 stories really showed me that news matters and it keeps people talking. It makes people make wiser decisions when it's done right. And like I said, if you love media and you can't think of anything else that you love just as much, because any career you go in, there's going to be politics. There's going to be playing nice when you don't want to. There's going to be hard days. There's going to be not good money in the beginning, especially for us ladies. We like nice things. We like hair, nails, all that stuff. And in this business, my first job was paying me $10 an hour. I didn't make real money until like 2 years ago. So, but I don't love, and they're laughing because it's true. But I love this business. And that's, if I could give any piece of advice to you all, if you love media, whether it's content creation, social media creation, all of that, if you love it and you don't love anything else, then this is the career for you because it's going to take a lot of tough, thick skin and grit to keep going forward. So yeah, that's
I love how real and raw that was.
I don't know any other way to get it.
You need that. Hi, how y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Good. So my name is Aunyea, Lachelle. It's so nice to meet you all. So I host a show here called Philly Live. It is our lifestyle and entertainment show. I actually was hosting the show at the beginning of this panel, so that's why I was a little late, so forgive me. But it's nice to be here with you all now. I have been here, it'll be 5 years in July. Time has gone by. I can't believe it's been that long. But I'm born and raised here in Philly. I grew up in Northeast Philly. I think I'm probably the only person, I'm the only person on this panel who's only ever lived in Philadelphia. I haven't lived anywhere else. Prior to working here at this station, I worked at another station here in Philly, and I was there for 4 years, and I interned there. And so that's where I got my start. I actually never really worked in hard news. So at my previous station, I started out in the programming department. And so we got to do a lot of things that are similar to what I do now. So lifestyle, entertainment, community affairs. I was a producer. And so I got my start behind the camera, but I always knew that I wanted to be in front of the camera. But like a few people mentioned here, it was something that I didn't know I wanted to do until I got to college. So if you don't know what you want to do right now, that's okay. You have time. So don't feel pressure to try to make a decision. But I'll be honest with you, my very first dream growing up, y'all gonna laugh at me, was to be a Disney Channel star. I wanted to be the Black Hannah Montana. I actually, because like what Leah was saying, I didn't see enough of myself on TV in the arts, right, in a creative medium. And so I wanted to create it. And so I had a little Cosmopolitan notebook and I wrote my own show. That was my own version of Hannah Montana. It was called Live, Laugh, Love, Don't Steal It. And I wrote my own songs. I played the guitars. I wrote my own songs for it and everything. And so that's what got me interested now in hindsight, when I think about it, into celebrity news, which is probably one of the things I love most about my jobs. I get to interview some really cool celebrities and kind of bring them down to earth and dig more into their stories and get them to open up and share things that we wouldn't know unless someone asked them those questions. And so I got into celebrity gossip blogs when I was in high school because I wanted to be a Disney star and I wanted to know what they were doing when they weren't on TV. And so luckily with hard work, I was able to turn that into a career, but it wasn't easy. When I was at my previous station, like I said, I was a producer, but I always wanted to be on air. And I kept trying to get those opportunities and I kept getting told no. But I didn't let those no's define me or defeat me. And so eventually I became a digital reporter. They wouldn't let me be on air, but they said you can do digital. And so I created a show for them called Entertainment Now. And I produced that show, I wrote that show, I edited that show, and I worked with a web producer there. I was able to find someone who believed in me. And sometimes all it takes is just one person. All it takes is one person to give you the spark and the confidence that you need to pursue your dreams no matter what. And so by the grace of God, I had this person in my corner, and he helped me put these episodes on their app and on their website. Now, mind you, I did all of this while I still had my day job as a producer and a community affairs coordinator there. So I was working after the clock. I'd be there till like midnight just to get these shows done and get them up and running. And so that show, and I didn't get paid for that show either. So this was just all, sometimes it's not always about the money. If you truly love what you do and you believe in yourself, sometimes that's all it takes. And trust me, my family thought I was crazy, right? Everyone thought I was crazy, but I just knew. I knew it would pay off one day. So I was there for 4 years. I did that show for about a year, and then they canceled it. And I said, all right, well, I can do something else. And so then I became a Facebook Live reporter for them and found stories and, told them on Facebook Live for them while still doing my other job. And one thing led to another, and I was able to create a reel from the content that I created at that station and shop that around. And then luckily, it landed into the hands of our former news director here. And that's how I got the opportunity to host Philly Live, which is everything that I was doing there. Except now I get to finally be on air and I get to tell those stories. And I still write the stories that I tell on air too. So I still get to use my producing background with this job here. But I say all that to say that if you have a goal and you believe in that goal, don't give up on it. Keep fighting. I never took no for an answer. I always took that as a, okay, not now or not this. But I never took it as a not never. And so I really, that's the one thing, if you can take anything away from what I'm saying, I know I'm saying a lot and I'm going to wrap it up, but if you can take anything away from what I'm saying right now, it's just, you have to be your own advocate. And I'm a spiritual person. I believe in God. So whatever it is that you believe in that keeps you going, hold on to that as well. And you just have to be your own advocate and fight for yourself. Don't ever give up, because like Leah said, and like many people on this panel have said, being a Black person, no matter what industry you are going into, it's not always going to be easy. You are going to have many moments probably where you feel alone. You may feel that way now, right? I don't know what after school activities you're into. It may be hard for you right now, but just know that you're here for a reason. You're here for a purpose. You're in this room right now for a reason. You were meant to hear and take in all of this advice that these amazing people are giving to you. And I know you're going to have a chance to ask your own questions too, but if there's one thing you can take away, it's just, no matter how hard it gets, never give up on yourself. That's one thing I can say. Thank you all for being here and listening.
So ladies, just say your name and then ask your question.
My name's Queen, and I have a question. What benefits does your job offer? Pros and cons.
Pros and cons. That's a serious question. I've actually been asked. Anybody want to?
I'll start. First of all, thank you for that question. I know sometimes it's like a little nerve-wracking speaking in front of a lot of people, so that was fantastic. Benefits. The benefit is getting to do something that you love to do. So I think that's what you guys should try to really focus on. What do you enjoy doing when you're not at school? Do you enjoy writing? Do you enjoy singing? Like, what do you enjoy doing right now? You like to do hair. Okay, so you can kind of combine that with media. And you could show everybody how you do hair. I don't know if you already have an Instagram account. Yeah, what's your Instagram? See? Plug.
It's Hair by Queen.
Hair by Queen. Okay. Yeah. I know, that's it. Like, be clear about it. Right. So I would say the benefit is just enjoying what you do. You get to do something you like to do every day. And someone was saying it gets to take you away. You get to live in another place if you want to. Also, you get to travel. Fred is going to Paris to the Olympics soon. A few of us got to go to the Super Bowl when the Eagles won. We were all in Minneapolis running on the field. When else would you get to do something like that? What type of job allows you those types of access and benefits? But this job does. So there's a lot of upside to working in news and media.
I think one I'll add, a pro and just a quick pro for the benefits of the job is, like I said, I love to put people and things at the center of attention. I love the authority that we get to be able to say, this should be put on the news. I like that. And I like that we get to be a part of the process. Like, oh, this restaurant is also doing something cool for the community. I'm going to work hard to put that on the news because I think it should be the center of attention. I love that our business, no matter how much it changes with social media, digital media, we get to put a spotlight on things that we collectively agree should be highlighted. Whether that's people, things, events, businesses, whatever, we get to highlight that. I think that's pretty cool.
My perspective is different. So I'm a reporter, so I'm out in the field. So one thing I never really wanted to do was an office job where I'm doing the same thing every single day. The monotony of that got boring to me. So benefit for me is that I'm not in the office. Every single day is completely different from the day before, and I have no idea what the day entails, which I like. I'm not really a people person, but you get to meet new people and different people every day if you like that. So there's new experiences, there's new people you meet, traveling, but like more like just like within the city, you go to different spots and places that you might not have heard of, have never been before, just in the city of Philadelphia. But the benefit for me is just like every day is completely different. So if you didn't want to sit behind a desk, not anchor desk, but in a desk at an office and just do the same thing every day, as a reporter, every day is completely different and you don't know what to expect. And that's, for some, that's exciting just because every day is different and you're in a different place. And some days you may meet somebody who's very important to their neighborhood. Another day, you could be like Aunyea, you can meet a celebrity. Another day, you could be like Danny, and I can go and interview Joel Embiid. You know what I mean? So my day is completely different, and you never know who you're going to meet. And for me, that's a benefit because I know I'm not just going somewhere doing the same thing day after day, hour after hour. There's just a new experience every day.
One last thing I want to add is that try to find a connection between what you're passionate about and what you do with your life or your career. Like Queen likes to do hair. Like that's a connection that she can make between what she might pursue after high school or through college. Because, you know, people make a distinction between a job and a career. A career is something that you feel connected to, that you are passionate about, that you do have a lot of like energy toward, where a job is just more or less something that you might show up to every day that you do to make ends meet or to pay bills or things like that. A career can be fulfilling, or it has like something in it that you feel passion and connected to. So like you doing hair, like that's a perfect thing. And especially being so young and having something that you know you're already like into, you know what I'm saying? So many people go through life or start out and don't find that thing until later on. And it's important to like try to stay connected to those things that really make your heart like wake up in the morning, you know.
And Ayana, I wanted to know, how do you balance time between your career and your family?
Work-life balance is big. I work late, so I'll typically, like maybe similar to Brittney or Jackie or Fred, like we're like 3 to like midnight. But for me, a lot of what I do revolves around the game. So oftentimes, like when the Sixers or the Phillies or Flyers are playing on the West Coast and the game starts at 10 o'clock, I'm not leaving the office till 2:30 in the morning or get home at 3. So I think that having partners and people who you love and care about that help you and the support system and things like that. So I've, worked here in Philly for 12 years, but I also worked several other places where I didn't have the support system, and I have 3 kids. So managing that is difficult. It's not easy. And it's, I think, being grounded and knowing what you want to do and how you feel about, family and the importance of it. And don't be afraid to tell your employer that that's something that is important to you as well. So they know, where you stand on things like that.
Yeah, I'll add to this. I'm like Danny. I have 4 kids actually, a blended family of 4 kids, and it's very challenging. It's like anything else that you guys want to do. Things just don't happen. You make plans, you set goals, and so I intentionally put time on my calendar to spend with each one of my kids. I intentionally try to go on a date with my wife, every couple of weeks or so forth throughout the month, but I put it on a calendar to try to do that specifically, because if I don't, it's not going to happen. Because as you've heard Erin and some other folks say, this job is unpredictable, so you don't know what's going to come up, and it's very easy to get swayed into what's happening. And so you have to really be intentional, like you guys, you set goals, on what kind of grades you want to make. Maybe you want to go to college, maybe you want to go to a school, maybe you want a job at a particular place. You set goals to do those things. I kind of set goals for myself to try to make sure I make that time for people in my family.
So I always say I'm a new mom. I have a 16-month-old son, but I still feel like I will say that I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to figure out how to balance work and home life. I'm exhausted every single day. And so I wanted to say that because I wanted to let you know that it's okay if you haven't figured out how to balance after school with school and hanging out with friends and hanging out with your family and all those things. It's an ongoing process that you will continue to try to learn as you go into adulthood and as you enter all the different phases of adult life, once you get to college, once you graduate college, once you start working. And so every phase of your life, it'll change. Work-life balance will change because you'll have something new added to your plate. And so I just want to let y'all know that it's okay if you feel like you don't have things under control. It's okay. You're still going to do great things.
Like you're paid fairly for the amount of work you do? Do you feel like you're paid fairly for the amount of work you do?
Who's watching this? Is this live stream?
Tell the world.
Oh man.
Yes, of course. I'm part of that answer is the laugh response. So we're going to leave that part of the honesty right there. Interpret it as you will. But I will say this, live below your means if you get into this industry. Really any industry right now, our economy in the country is not really great right now. People are laying off people left and right. So it's really hard to obtain a good job. If there's only one thing in my career, if I had a chance to do it over again, that would have been it. Live below your means. What that means is always, say your first job, don't live by yourself if you can, get a roommate. I didn't want to do that. I probably still wouldn't do that, but like, if you're okay with it, split your rent. Girls, especially women, don't go buying all these clothes to look the certain part. If the company doesn't pay you to look a part, keep it simple. Rotate the same outfits, make sure you look clean, but don't go doing all your nails, doing all your hair, doing all these things that, with the way clothes go, you won't even like them a year from there. You'll be throwing them away, giving them away, buying new clothes. Live below your means. I cannot stress that enough. And the reason is we're always going to feel we could be paid a little more. You know what I'm saying? Life is expensive. And like I said, when I first spoke earlier, we like things. Things cost money. Vacation costs money. Hair, nails, makeup, skincare, everything costs money. And you're probably not going to make enough to have all the things you enjoy and pay bills and save for a rainy day. I know your parents, grandparents probably always said that, right? Save for a rainy day, because life happens. There's always going to be something that comes to hit you in the back that you have to pay for. And you probably spent all your money going out with friends after work, going on, I know your generation is big on, traveling. I don't know how you guys do it. At your age, I mean, I'll look at teenagers. I'm like, how are they doing? Right. 90, I mean, they do it. So, however you're doing that, please share some wisdom. But I think to answer that question in a way that's probably professional and securing and protecting the bag, I think we could all just agree that probably you should live below your means. Spend less than you make.
I just want to add that you will always, no matter how much you get paid, want to get paid more. Look, if you don't believe me, look at the contract negotiations that go on with professional athletes who make more money than you can imagine. You're always going to want to be paid more money. I guess the important thing is to go back to what Danny said, is that if you can match your talent with whatever your passion is, whatever problem is in the world that irks you or keeps you up at night, and if there's a gift that you can give or lend to fix that problem, or if there's something that makes your heart beat, do that, and the money won't matter as much. I mean, obviously you need to live, but the money won't be your priority for taking the job.
Yeah, and that's it. A lot of people really said that we started in this business. We're in this business because we love it, because we have a passion for it, a passion for telling stories, or a passion for being out in the community, or traveling, or whatever it is. Do all of us get paid relatively well based on the median income? Yes. Do all of us, could we use more money? Sure. Who couldn't? But it's about that passion. And what Aunyea said was really important. Did you hear what she said? She did so much work for free on her own time because she wanted it, and she wanted that opportunity, and she was not letting anyone tell her no. And that's part of part of the tough part of being in this business. I can't tell you how many times I've been told no. A news director once said to me famously, "You will never be an anchor." That's difficult to hear. I'm an anchor in the number 4 market, but I had to work. Yes, it took me months and months to get my first job when a lot of my colleagues, my peers were getting jobs. I had to start at a really low market where hardly anybody was watching TV. They were starting way ahead of me. So it's about perseverance. When you finally feel like you've made it, you've got to where you want to be, the paycheck doesn't matter as much.
Yes, I was going to say that too. I think the biggest focus is going to be on finding what you love to do and then getting really good at it. Like you do have to just be excellent at something, and the money is going to come. And it's easy to be excellent if you really enjoy what you do. So we already brought up the example of hair. So the better you are, the more you're going to get to charge, and you just will keep climbing and climbing and climbing. And that you can literally apply that to our industry, hair industry. What are some of your interests? What do you think you want to do? Hair too. So same thing. Maybe you guys can get together and do it, work together, bring in more clients. So that's the big takeaway, is just get really good at something, really focus in on it, and the rest is going to follow.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Alfred. Nice to meet all of you, see all of you before me. These are amazing faces. Oh my God, I see you guys on TV.
He's the charmer, right, of the group? I mean, I feel very charmed, let me just say.
I want to become an anchor. I want to be an anchor when I grow older. I've always had in school. I've always had a passion for the music industry, and I've had to see a lot of my favorite artists sometimes get shunned because of some of the biases that people in the news industry have sometimes. And I want to say thank you for not doing that. So my question is, it relates to school, was there any subject in school that you guys thought was irrelevant but you now see it applied in your daily lives? Now you see it playing a role in your daily lives, and has that realization made some sort of appreciation grow in you guys?
I walked in those shoes. I did the announcements in the morning, and I also like had that experience of trying to show up every day and like bring some flavor to it, or just like make it my own type of thing. I was a big I hated math, but and I see how you relate to that, but I also I didn't know that writing would become such a big part of what I do on a regular basis. And I liked writing, but it was more like creative writing and like finding like little ways to use like similes and metaphors and things like that, and just maybe just be more adventurous like that. So for me, I thought I wanted to do news. And I worked for WRTI here at Temple, where I went to school, and I would show up and do like Chamber of Commerce meetings, and John Street was showing up somewhere, or I just covered all these news stories. I would come back and I would take my little recording device and get it, and then come back and write it and put it together. And then one day I came in and they didn't have an assignment for me, and somebody didn't show up that was in the sports department to cover the Sixers game. Like, oh, do you want to go to the Sixers game? And I played sports all my life, but I wanted to do news. I wanted to be like New York #1 anchor type vibes. So no one showed up, and I went and covered the Sixers game. And Allen Iverson scored like 43 points. I got to interview him in the locker room afterward. And I came back and I got to, say like, Allen Iverson, more moves in the U-Haul truck, or like some like just type of like just be creative. And I wasn't covering fires and like death and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't. So it just gave me more to show my personality and be fun. And it just didn't seem like work. You know what I'm saying? It just seemed like I was having a good time. So that writing experience played into like, I'd like to write, but I didn't like really conceptualize the fact that it would be something that I could do and have fun with at the same time. So where, you're writing essays and papers and research and stuff you really don't care about, whereas that same writing experience and putting sentences together and things like that turned out to be the thing that really worked in my favors.
Hi, my name is Jaisha. My question is like to all of you, how does your job as a news anchor mentally affect you?
Love how I got the mic handed to me first. It's no joke. It's difficult, It's extremely hard. I am known as the death and destruction reporter on the street, so I cover typically everything that's bad that happens in the community. So on people's worst days, I'm there. I'm the one showing up. So think of anything that's happened really bad in the city, things that you would not want a reporter or anybody to know about or to show up to. I'm the one who shows up typically. It's difficult, because you talk about families, then you start to think about your own family when you show up to things that, when young people are involved, young people losing their lives, you start to think about your own kids, your own family, and it's difficult. It's, for me, it's almost a daily thing. So I've had to learn how to deal with it because I am going to these scenes that you guys may just see on your social media feeds. If you don't watch the news, I'm there every day. Yeah, man, it's hard. Like, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I mean, just put yourself in a situation when you're going to show up to a scene where people have lost their lives, or people have lost their homes, or people have lost everything they've ever worked for.
How do you keep your composure?
Like, it's a difficult. Sometimes you don't. Like, I'm behind the scenes. I mean, like, I am fortunate enough to work with somebody on a daily basis who I consider a friend, who I can talk through with. He's my photographer. He's been on the streets with me for a long time. So I can talk to him about stuff and he can talk to me about things. It helps to have experience. I've been doing it for a very long time, so that helps. I think if I was a newer reporter showing up to some of these things, I remember the first time I ever saw a body on the ground. I'd never seen that in my entire life in one of my first jobs. It rocked me to my core. I said, what am I looking at? What am I doing? It made me contemplate, am I doing the right thing? Like, why am I here? As you guys know, Philadelphia has been a very violent city. Just think of all the things you've heard, right? I've been to half of those things. So, well, that's hundreds of things. So I talk to my family about it. I talk to those who have been through it before, but there's no real easy way to get through some of these things. You know, everybody in their own individual way have been probably out in the field covering things, from field anchoring to natural disasters with weather, to all of these things that we've all at one point have been out there and probably questioned what is going on and how do we get through it. The most difficult things for me are when people like you are involved in it and I have to go and there are young people involved and I'm tasked with trying to talk to your mother, your father, your grandmother, your uncle, you know, like, I don't want to do that, right? I don't want to be there. I don't want to knock on your door, but it's a job that I take very seriously. It's a job I signed up for, and I try to put myself in their shoes. Like if I knew somebody had to approach me on my worst day, how would I want to be approached? Because you got to be humble about it. And you have to really, people see right through what you're going to know. If you go in this business, people see right through you in a heartbeat. They know if you're sincere with your intentions and they don't. And I'm sure some of you guys know when people are coming at you sideways or coming at you with the right intentions, you know? The best way you get through bad scenarios is what? Is leaning on the people who you know care about you, right? And leaning on your friends who you know care about you or have been through similar situations. I know this is, I hope I'm answering. I know it's a long-winded answer, but it's probably the most difficult part of my job on a daily basis is showing up to something that is not only devastating for those in that community, but devastating for those who cover it. You know, like I'd be lying to you if I said I've never had tears in my eyes showing up somewhere. That's a lie. I have. I'd be lying if I said to you I'd never wiped tears away from my eyes seconds before Jackie tosses to me in the field and said, "Hey, Erin, I know you've been on the scene. Tell me what you're seeing." Like that's not a lie. Like this job is difficult. It's extremely difficult. It's extremely rewarding. And there's nothing like somebody on one of their worst days of their lives hugging you and telling you that I appreciate the way you came at me and my family, but it doesn't get easier. Hey, like I said earlier, right? I don't know what the day had in store, right? Tonight, I might be at that same situation. I could be at that same situation in 4 hours from now. I could be somewhere where I don't want to be and people are on their worst day and I have to show up, you know? Trauma is real. We've done panels on Black trauma and how do we cope with it? There is no one answer. Everybody is different. What works for me might not work for her or him. And what works for you might not work for some of your fellow classmates. To wrap it up, I know that I've probably deep down put a lot of this in my subconscious, that when I'm done with it, it's all going to pour out. Not going to be pretty either, right? But at some point, that's where your professionalism comes in on any job. You guys are going to show up to work no matter what profession you have. And it's going to be, you might have had the worst day of your life, right? But you still got to show up and work. You still got to put forth your best effort. And that's how I feel. Like I may show up to something that is devastating me inside, but I can't let that really show. I mean, sometimes I do. And she can notice it sometimes, which is fine, which I like, you know, which is the human element, which people want to see. But the trauma is real and it's difficult. Like everybody has their own way. I've kind of figured out that I can talk to some of my coworkers, I can talk to my family, and I can try and get through it. And I would say if anybody's going through anything that is not like that, but don't be afraid to reach out to people and don't be afraid for counseling, because you guys could be going through things that are completely different than me showing up to a scene on somebody's worst day. But trauma is real. And I'm just being honest with you. You know what I mean? My story is completely different than everybody else's, but I'm the one who's there 4 out of 5 nights. I'm showing up on somebody's worst night just imagine that, when you have to show up on somebody's worst day of their entire life. Their entire life. You're there. The worst day of their life. You have to show up. And then you have to try and talk to somebody, and you have to try and maneuver through this difficult, delicate situation. And going through all these other markets that we all talked about, that's helped me too, because experience matters. I don't care what anybody says. Experience matters, and experience matters big time when trying to maneuver, trying to develop relationships, trying to talk to people on their worst days. So yeah, that's me. Thanks.
The last thing I'll add on that is wherever you go to work, it's very important that you ask your employer, how do you support people when they're not mentally feeling okay? For me, one of my favorite things about working for this particular company is it does value work balance life, and it does support us when we're not really okay. It's not a taboo, and it's okay to advocate for yourself and say, you know what, that was a lot, and I need to take a step back. I think one thing that happened post-pandemic that we ought to keep putting forthright is really knowing how we're feeling, checking in, and then letting the people who can make decisions know. If there's something that when I was younger I didn't know was really important, which was knowing how to advocate for yourself. It's very important to tap in with how you're feeling, how your flesh is feeling, and to know and to feel, as corny as it sounds, to feel those feelings. To know if you're not okay, to know if you're kind of mad, to know if you're irritated, to know if you're extremely happy from something. It's important to identify and know how you're feeling so you know how to move forward. And I think that working for people, employees, teams who support that the best way that they can is really important. Alfred, about your question, all of the subjects matter. How they're taught, maybe up for debate. But algebra, because that's kind of the problem, right? Is history important? Maybe it's the way we're teaching history, things we're leaving out, things that we should include, but they're all important. A couple of weeks ago, I covered a fire that was carbon monoxide poisoning. If it wasn't for the 2 days out of like a year I paid attention in chemistry in high school, I would never remembered how deadly it could be. To answer your question, it does come back. Algebra, when you take something out of an equation, how will things look if you remove something from the equation? That's algebra. History, we all see now with social media, history keeps coming up. It keeps coming up. We repeat it because we don't listen about history in class. Every subject matters. PE matters. It matters. Do you also do PE? Okay, it matters. You got to know how to walk. You got to know how to use your body. Health matters. All of the subjects matter. How they're taught is up for debate, but still show up, still be a good student. The life skills you learn through those classes also will benefit you, So it all matters.
Going back to your question about the toll that it takes, it is a huge mental toll. And I'm separated being on the anchor desk to a point, unlike Leah and Erin and what they see every single night. I can't imagine having to be in it on a daily basis, so incredibly close to it. This was like 5-6 years ago, the hostage situation. Erin, I'm pretty sure you were the reporter out on it. There was a man who was barricaded in his home holding someone hostage with a gun. There was a daycare next door. We were waiting for all these little kids to come out. Erin's out there reporting on it. This is hours that we're on TV, not sure what the conclusion would be. We're on the desk constantly talking to Erin. Very high pressure, tense situation. After maybe 2-3 hours, we start to see these little children walk out of the daycare with their chaperone, their teachers protecting them because the gunman is still next door. I start crying on set. Completely opposite of what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to be emotionless, not wear our heart on our sleeve, but I couldn't help it. I don't have any children, but children are my soft spot. They just are. But that was really difficult. And afterwards, I'm like, am I going to necessarily get in trouble for this? But I'm going to be pulled in the office and be like, we have to be stoic. We have to be professional. You can't exhibit that. Fortunately, that didn't happen. And I think times are different now with television. You're supported when you show that you're real, that you're human, that we're not robots. Different than it was 10 years ago. And I think that's respected. And it's okay to do that. But at the time, I couldn't help but you see these little kids walking out. Okay, they're safe. They're okay. They're not hurt. So In the moment, I didn't care because that was my honest reaction and the honest emotion. But afterwards, I was like, oh boy, how's this going to come off? Because it's not what we were taught when I was taught in school. We had to be very, very stoic at all times. So I think it's okay.
You got one
Well,
more?
hold, we're going to play this 2-minute video, and then we'll come back. Yep.
And action. Action.
You want a CT program? Are you in the film CT program? You make sure it don't matter. It's Edison. You're the best. My boy, he'll tell you all about it. And they say that. And they say that. And they say that.
I'm an Edison film student. Of course, I'm going to put my clever.
I'm a film student. First, we got green screens. Film student. Of course, I know how to take acting.
I'm a film student. Of course, I forget my edits. Wait.
I'm from medicine.
Of course, we have the news phone.
That's supposed to be Mickey Mouse.
M-I-C-K-E-Y.
I'm a film student. Of course, I'm inspired by Tyler Perry.
Who are you?
Who are you?
I'm the owner of this house.
And wrong answer. I'm a film student. Of course, I like to take pictures.
Edison film teacher. Of course, we're going first place in Skills USA. All we do is win.
Of course, you had to be dramatic and get your done.
And that's a wrap. That's a wrap.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I just want to introduce one more person, our Vice President of News, Elizabeth Flores. Real quick. Elizabeth, if you have 1 minute. Yeah, quickly, like TV, you get 1 minute.
All right, 1 minute. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad that you were able to meet this amazing team. Aren't they great? Quick little story. How I got into this is because something like this happened. I had an anchor come to school from Univision. I am Afro-Latina, and I don't know. And hello, testing? That's the same. All right, here. There we go. So he was Afro-Latino. And he came to, I think they can hear me, right? Oh, for the feed. Apologies. Oh, see, I don't do that. I don't do the camera. So he came in just like this, and, it wasn't as many. So this is amazing because it wasn't as many. He was one a long, long time ago. I won't tell you when. And I was really, truly inspired by seeing someone like him doing what he was doing. And it inspired me because I came from humble beginnings. My parents worked at the flea market. I worked with them on the weekends. My mom, I think she left El Salvador when she was in 6th grade, and she never returned to school. My father graduated high school, but they worked at the swap shop selling little trinkets. And I didn't really have anyone to look at and say, I can do that. I can go to college. So when this anchor came in, I was like, wow, I could do that. He truly inspired me. So I hope that you have been inspired by them. Even hopefully journalism is something that you're looking into doing. If not journalism, then film or content creation. One thing that's really important, because along my journey, when I was going to college, there was someone who was an editor, and he worked at a local TV station. And I was not shy about advocating for myself and asking him, can you please introduce me to the executive producer or whoever
at the local TV station because I really want to intern there. Again, no connection. So this is my only connection. I grabbed onto that first person that I could that can open that door for me. And he did. I'll never forget, I walked in. It's a little bit different now than it was different then than it is now. I walked in. This executive producer is working on her desk. By the way, looked like me too. And she looks at me. The editor, my friend, says she really would love to work in TV. She's really interested in journalism. She looked at me. She goes, okay, when can you start? I go, now. So again, might look different now, but there are people who will open those doors for you if you knock. That woman right now is Executive Vice President of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at NBC. So it just comes to show what a small world it is. She's still lifting me up until this day. And she has taught me as well to open the doors for others as well. One thing that I'll say is yes, and you'll hear this, and I'm sure you've heard this. Sometimes, a lot of times, yeah, we do have to work harder. We do have to show up even when we're not okay. We do. We do that. But it is also very, very important that you take that time, as Leah said, for yourself. I am a huge advocate of taking that time for yourself, of making sure that you're okay to do the job and to do it well. I run a lot. That's my therapy. My therapy is to go run out. I have a tribe, a group that they don't do what I do, but I get to talk to them about what I do. And it's a really great perspective. And that's one of my ways, my outlet. So that was really, Erin, I'm like, oh. He's on a opposite shift, night shift. So, it's, and he's out there working really hard. So I rarely get to cross paths with him. So it's like, and it is true. Sometimes you think people are okay and that they can do it and they can handle it when they're out there. And you don't realize they do need that hug. They do need that chat. So make sure you lean on each other as well. And if you make it, make sure you're bringing her with you. Don't forget. You make it, don't forget her. If you make it, don't forget him. Make sure you're bringing people up with you. Don't be afraid of challenging the status quo. Don't be afraid of challenging it. There's many times I've questioned myself in decisions that I've made, and I've relied on a friend and I ask, did I make the right decision? And they say to me, I won't get into the specific of what it was. It's like, if it happened the other way around, would anybody question you because of some of the changes that you've made? No, they would have not. So don't be afraid of taking risks. Don't be afraid of taking chances. Don't be afraid of knocking on doors. Don't be afraid of going up to somebody and just saying, can you open this door for me? I'm really interested. I want to do it. I'm passionate, but I'm willing to work hard for it. Because you do have to work hard for it. You do have to sacrifice. I'm away from my family right now. There's a few of us here who are as well, and then we have to travel and do all that to be able to be a part with our family. And we miss moments. We do miss a lot of moments. And it's a sacrifice, but it's worth it. Man, do I love what I do. I love it. We just do such great work for our community, and we all care about our community, and we're super passionate about it. So as long as you love what you do, you're going to be fine. But just, I will say, get ready to work hard. There is a work-life balance because I believe in it, but also put in the work. That's it.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
You got it. Sorry, that was not a minute.
It was not a
minute.
But
I got really into it.
Very quickly, on behalf of BEN, Black Employee Network, this is what we call a safe space. This for us was a labor of love. And as a product of the Philadelphia School District, I want you to walk out differently than when you came in. This is rare. This is a rare opportunity. Being a part of that school district, a lot of schools won't ever get this opportunity. And it's not just about media. It's about the space. It's about the faces. It's about the representation. Wherever we are, we belong. And carry yourselves that way. Always bring your best self. Okay? As we close, again, guys, I used to be a floor director, so I don't want to have to wrap you. But in the sake of time, really quickly, one piece of advice you can leave with these young people. The title of this panel was The Power of Storytelling. So there's power in all of our stories. There's power in their stories. There's power in the way they choose to tell our stories. So if you're not an NBC 10 viewer now, this should make you want to be, just out of the sake of being proud. You know, this is us, and this is an experience you may never get again. So if we can start here really quickly, again, don't make me rap you.
Yeah. I was talking to Danny about earlier, just about no safety net. So that's my advice. Don't operate with a safety net. Whatever you want, go after it, and go after it hard, and do whatever it takes to get there. And if you really do that, then you're going to get to where you want to be.
I wasn't quite clear earlier. I work at NBC Sports Philadelphia, which is based out of the Wells Fargo Center, and I'm an energy guy. And the thing I wanted to say, which plays right into the request, is that the word professionalism was mentioned here a few times, but that's something I really want to stress to you guys. I have a 16-year-old son. He's in the Philadelphia school district. I see him in you guys as well. And how you show up matters, you know, being on time, how you bring ideas to the table, you know, being, you know, your full self when you're in a place, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to leave anything to chance. So being professional, following up with people, you know, saying thank you and things like that, it goes a long way. People recognize those things. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there and be, you know, present at those moments.
Don't put yourself in a box. So I'm a meteorologist, but I had an idea for a children's book called The Meteorologist and Me. I didn't like the book selection when I would go to read to kids. So I wrote my own, and I could control what the character looked like and what the story was about. So if you think you're interested in one thing, but then something else is kind of gnawing at your mind, and you're like, oh, but I can't do that because I already do this. You can do all the things. We're here on this earth to experience lots of things. So just be encouraged that you can try anything that you are interested in.
Make sure you love what you do, because in the beginning of this industry, you're not getting paid a lot of money at all. Often you have to have a second job, a third job to make ends meet. So you have to have a passion about it and love it. You're working holidays, you're working overnight hours. Take initiative. If you do an internship, don't just sit back and wait for them to offer you. Take initiative. Pick up the phone call. Make those contacts and those resources, and go to the producer and say, hey, I found this on my own. Don't wait for someone to ask you to do something. They really appreciate initiative, and follow up with people. So if you ever meet anyone along the way and you have a good relationship with them, maintain that, because it's not just who you know, it's who knows you and who likes you and who has good relationships with you and can see working with you down the road. So all of those things are really important.
Never give up. Never, ever, ever give up. I'm a firm believer that if one door closes, another one will open. Now, it may be one door that's closed and another one that's closed and another one that's closed. You may be hearing all this negative stuff coming. No, you can't do this. Yes, you can. Never give up. Believe in yourself, and you'll go far.
Two things. Be who you are. Don't be afraid to be exactly who you are, because there's only one of you. There are lots of people who you will see, who you can look at, and there will be great examples and things about them that you would admire, that would inspire you to develop certain things in yourself. But at the core of who you are, that's who you are. And when you show up somewhere, you are the only person on this earth who is you. So be who you are. That brings value to wherever you are, because there's no one else like you. And then the second thing I'll say is, don't be afraid to do things that make you feel uncomfortable, because that is where growth is. You know, the first time you did whatever you tried, fill in the blank, you may have been afraid to do it, but now you feel more comfortable doing it. Well, you took that step to feel uncomfortable to do something that now feels comfortable, and now you do it better than you did before. So don't be afraid to make a choice or a decision that takes you out of a comfort zone to do more, because that's where you're going to improve, and that's where growth is.
One is quick. So I'm a splice it a little. I'll be quick. Be on time. Be on time. And on time means 15 minutes early, which means that's still late. So be 30 minutes early. Your talent will not matter if you are not on time. I am a testament of it. Be on time. I cannot stress that enough. If you have $10, this is my second one. If you have $10 and you go to like the candy store, and each thing you want to buy is $1 and you want all of it, how much candy should you get? No, that's a real question. So if you have $10 and you go buy something and everything you want is $1 and you have $10, so you have enough, how many items should you get? So you said 10, you said all of them. What did I say earlier about saving money? Live below your means. Live below your means. Kind of being funny, but I'm being so serious. Live below your means. If you have $10 and everything you want is $10, you should get 5. Get accustomed to not spending all of your money. Anytime I speak to Black students, I'm always, because we come from people who have money and love money. We come from royalty. So we're not used to being broke, but you have to get used to being broke, because if you're not, you're going to be broke. Live below your means, even if you don't go into media. Spend less, save more.
I'm just going to reiterate what I told you guys earlier, which was never take no for an answer. You can go somewhere and be told no, and then that same no can turn into a yes from someone else. My reel that I created, I showed it to my former news director at my last station, and I was told I wasn't good enough. I was too niche to be on TV, that I would have to go to a small market and be a weather girl. That's what I was told. He was shady, girl. But that same reel is what got me this job here. So I've received a no from him, but then got a yes with that same material from someone else. And so never take no for an answer. Show up for yourself, be your biggest advocate, and no matter what, and just kind of piggybacking off of what Erin said, believe in yourself and you are going to go so far.
And before we wrap it up, we have the director.
I just want to say thank you. I want to thank Ben. You guys have been extremely gracious and opening the doors and allowing our students to come. I want to thank our students and our teachers for coming, doing everything you need to do on the back end from protocol and bureaucracy to get here. So thank you so much. I want to thank the anchor as well as the behind the scenes staff team. The information that you shared with us will change lives. And I know you said that you want to make sure that our team walks out and you feeding into us. I want everyone in here and behind the scenes to walk out, knowing that the information that you shared with us, you are changing, you're impacting lives. I want you to walk out knowing that the time that you gave us, the 2, 3, 4, 5 hours at this point, was a great thing, and that you have impacted us. Not only young people, there's some of us that's slightly older that might put in for an internship as well during the summer. So just look out for that. I'm taking my opportunity, because if I had this opportunity, if I knew, I would be there. So I'm not joking. I'm gonna put in an application. So thank you guys very much.
So once again, thank you to our talent for joining us. Thank you to Edison High School. We appreciate you all. Hope you enjoyed the panel. On behalf of Ben, thank you very much.